A question I often get asked is, how are cell phones affecting our communication skills? In this video, I'm going to share 4 ways that cell phones have actually made aspects of communication more challenging. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to ameliorate the impact of cell phones on your communication skills. And yes, I'm a walking SAT vocab quiz. I'm Bob Bordone, and yes, I own and use a cell phone. Now, chances are your relationship to a cell phone is really different if you're 20 versus 50 versus 80 years old. One thing that probably is common across all of them is that you probably have a somewhat unhealthy relationship with respect to your phone. For folks in the 20s and 30s, it might be hard to remember life without a cell phone that was also a smartphone. For the rest of us, we've witnessed a transformation from a wired phone to a cordless, to a flip phone, to a smartphone. Whether you've been alive to see that transformation or not, one thing is for sure. Cell phones have impacted our communication skills in important ways that affect all of us. Many of these changes have been salubrious. And given the reaction my producers just gave me, I'm thinking this is an SAT challenge word. So, just to be clear, salubrious means they've been good or fortunate or helpful. So, a salubrious outcome of cell phones is that folks are able to build relationships with people who live great distances in ways that were really much harder to do 20 years ago. Another salubrious impact is that we can stay in frequent touch with many more people at the same exact time, thanks to the ability to send a text or use WhatsApp. So I can remember being in high school trying to make social plans. I know this is going to age me, but guess what? You'd actually have to tell someone on a wired phone the time and the place you were going to meet them. No last minute texting to figure things out, just awful. So let's discuss the first of the 4 ways that cell phones have made communication more challenging. First, they have actually reduced our skill and ability to engage in real-life conversations. If you're in your 20s or younger, I have some news for you. For most of the history of the phone, the device was actually used for people to have verbal conversations with each other. But now, it seems we actually rarely use cell phones for actual conversations. Indeed, the shape of the phone itself makes it kind of challenging to have a conversation using the device without earphones or earbuds. Today, the cell phone, in terms of communication, is largely used for texting. And most of that texting is in a short, staccato form. We might be engaged, in fact, in multiple texting conversations at the same time. The upshot? Fewer actual real conversations between individuals, both in text form, but also in real life. Because younger people spend so much time texting each other, they've actually developed fewer skills for engaging in these in-person conversations. This means that skills like active listening and effective assertion are actually less developed. Even though we might be in touch with more people, we develop fewer intimate and deeper connections, fewer real and meaningful relationships. Recent research has shown that 30% of young people aged 16 to 24 report feeling never more alone than they do now. And they also report not knowing how to make new friends. Indeed, this research shows that young people are lonelier than ever, and that at least some of this can be traced to the use of the cell phone and to the social media usage that flows from that phone. So, even though we think cell phones enhance communication, in some ways they really don't, because they tend to prioritize this staccato-like quick communication over real, genuine communication, conversation, and relationship building. The second challenge with respect to communication and cell phones is the increased likelihood of misunderstanding. Whenever we communicate with each other, one of our primary goals should be to have the intention of our communication be equal to the message that has been received. But research has shown that when we move to phone or text, the likelihood of misattribution of intentionality actually goes up. So why is that the case? Well, it's because human beings actually learn a lot from the emotional and facial cues that they see when they're in communication. We also pick up a lot of cues around tone. So we know that when those things are missing, we're actually missing a whole lot. Research has also shown that people are much more likely to be untruthful and lie in text communications and in phone communications over face-to-face communications. It's also the case that it's actually harder to detect lies over text or over phone communication. But it's not just that. It's also emojis. So one of the things that cell phones has in some ways gifted us, but in other ways hurt us, is the emergence of literally hundreds of different emojis. Emojis are really nice shorthand in some cases, but they also can represent real challenges because, again, not everybody understands what an emoji means, and importantly, some emojis mean multiple things depending on your generation, depending on how old you are. So the challenge of emojis, first, is that a lot of people don't know what they all mean, and secondly, people often mean different things using the same emoji. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story involving me and the hug emoji. So for quite a long time, I actually thought that hug emoji that kind of looks like this was just somebody basically kind of smiling and being happy. And yes, I ended up managing to send it consistently to one of my work colleagues. It wasn't until I was in a conversation with a friend who told me that this emoji with the smile is actually a hug. Needless to say, I was horrified. Luckily, this colleague was very understanding and, having accurately decided that I was relatively clueless and aged, did not read anything into the hug that I was sending them consistently over several months. The third challenge of cell phone communication is an increase in the informality of communication. So texting has resulted in this increase of informality. There are all sorts of abbreviations used to make communication supposedly easier. IMHO, in my humble opinion, FWIW, for what it's worth, OMG, oh my god, ICYMI, in case you might be interested, TBH, to be honest, STFU, sorry, this is a rated PG YouTube channel, so I'm going to let you look that one up if you don't know it. But the challenge here, right, is all of these abbreviations, all of these emojis, has made it such that people don't even write in full sentences or care much about punctuation. And this kind of informality actually has seeped into almost every context, whether it's an email or a formal letter or even writing papers. And so there's been just a real reduction in our ability to kind of communicate in formal ways. And this leads me into my fourth point, which is a reduction in conflict handling skills and a general increased avoidance of conflict. So this staccato-like nature of text communication makes it quite easy for us to actually avoid dealing with conflict. When we feel uncomfortable, we just stop responding. But this ability to avoid the conflict has then resulted in a decrease in our ability to handle conflict well. What we tend to do now is if we don't like what someone is saying or doing, we kind of cancel them, we move on to another conversation. That can work fine in a text world, but it actually doesn't really work well in the real world. In the real world, we need to be able to engage differences and engage conflict, deploying skills like good listening, like effective assertion, like perspective taking. And those skills are being developed less frequently and less well thanks to cell phones. So you've made it this far. Let me give you the 3 tips for mitigating the negative effects of cell phone use. Number 1, limit your cell phone communication. Number 2, match your communication style to the form and the person. Emojis and acronyms might be good in some contexts, but not in others. Think about with whom you're trying to communicate and then pick the medium that's right for them. Third, build your own skills of conflict resilience and dialogue and conflict resolution. So if you want to develop more of these conflict resolution skills, watch the next video, which is how to stay calm in a difficult conversation. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the button. I'm Bob Bordone. Thanks for watching, and Let's keep negotiating together. Stay calm and keep watching that next video.